Hey, this is Malika of Evanston Live TV, and we have with us attorney Juneitha Shambee. Now, I saw Juneitha in action when she was defending Peter Braithwaite during his hearing, and it was a successful turnout. I watched her in action, and I just love to see women just doing their thing, just doing it. And then I saw that you have your own firm. I saw the commercial that you
Right.
said, okay, and I've seen you all about town. And I said, you know what? I think everybody needs to know her. And who doesn't need it, especially during these times? Everything's so.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, welcome to the show, Juneitha. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time. And I'm not going to keep you long because I know you are probably swamped right now. Swamped. But I wanted to
Yeah.
get insight. I know you would be able to bring a whole nother perspective to what we are dealing with in terms of COVID, in
Yeah.
terms of the racial tension that is going on. Um, what has been your experience in one dealing with the racial tension and police brutality and discrimination? You know, what can you share with us in your experience in terms of the courtroom, how this all plays
Right.
out?
Um, so I have I do work in civil rights work as well as other areas of law such as criminal defense. And I've seen this more prominent in the criminal defense arena. Obviously, when someone comes to me for their civil rights case, it's because they've already blatantly seen the discrimination against them. They've experienced it, right?
Mm.
Well, I've also seen it in the criminal defense arena where defendants are defendants of color are penalized more harshly than their counterparts.
Mm.
Um, they're charged harshly, they're sentenced harshly,
Mm.
and there just isn't a fair balance there. Um, I've had cases where I've had white attorneys as well as white judges against my client just because the color of his skin. And
Mm.
I've had to battle that. And I mean, I'm happy to say that we were successful, but you get into the system thinking that you're going to make a change and the system is fair, and we all know that the system isn't fair. And so that's the reason that I do what I do, is to try to add some semblance of balance to the system. Um, with everything that's going on right now, even with the protesting, the riots, the looting, and things like that, we've already seen in the media who they're trying to portray as being the perpetrators of all of these actions. But
Mm.
yet they're not showing the other side that this is equal among all races, the protests, the riots, the looting, and everything like that. And so, of course, we're going to see an explosion of cases in the court system in the next coming days. And most of the defendants are going to be people of color. And that's an unfortunate stance on it.
Mm. You know, I know you can't discuss cases that you have right now, but are any of them from the uprisings in Chicago that are going on?
Not currently. I have offered my services pro bono to any protester that was arrested during a peaceful protest. I'm working with other organizations as well, such as bar associations and some other nonprofit organizations, in order to provide my services for free, because it's so relevant. It's needed. It's something that unfortunately our people are underrepresented, as we already know, which is why we're having this shout, this yell, this raising our voices, because it's time for us to be heard, right? And so that's the reason that I'm offering my services, so I can make sure that people, not only are their rights not violated, but also that they're treated fairly in this system, because we know that we are going to see this explosion of cases that's coming in. And here in Illinois, looting actually is a standalone case. It should not be attached with theft. But unfortunately, we know that some people are going to try to attach it to theft so that there's a harsher penalty, or they're going to add on tons of other charges for our.
Oh, Juneitha, it's pausing. So I don't know if you're still talking right now. Okay, it paused for a second. We missed the very tail end of what you said.
Well, I was just saying that I'm here to make sure that the charges that comes in, that they're treated fairly. They're not attached to some other charge just to make the penalty harsher for the individual, for the person of color, which we know may happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we want to prevent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I'm working with the organizations. I'm working with people to make sure that they have their rights heard. That's the whole point of a peaceful protest, is to have their voices heard.
Racism is such, it's like boxing out a mountain. How do you deal in, so you're this woman, you have this knowledge, you have your case, you've done your research, you know, you're prepared to go to battle, and knowing the decision is probably already made, but you still got to go in there and box the mountain. How do you do it? How do you do it? What?
You know what? I stand firm in my beliefs. When I work for my clients, I am a zealous advocate. I know that we have tons of strikes against us before we even walk into the courtroom. I'll tell you an example. I had a case last year where my client was incarcerated. He was in custody for a couple of years. And throughout the entire case, every time I brought a motion or I brought something that is legally sound under the law, I would be ruled against by my white judge, and he will rule in favor of the white prosecutor. Even though I can show him the law where he should have ruled on my behalf. It didn't happen. And so I knew then that, you know what, we're gonna fight this tooth and nail. We know our case, we're confident in our case. We're not gonna let them ride over us or try to overwhelm us or anything. We're gonna take this piece by piece by piece. It's very important when I'm picking juries, when I found out who's on the other side, kind of do a little bit of recon on them. When I'm put before a judge, do a little recon there, because then I know how I need to approach this case. I know the people that I'm dealing with, and I'm better equipped when I go in there for my clients. For that case, we were successful, but there are many cases out there that is similar and they're not as successful. And it's not because of the charge, it's because, like you said, their minds are already made up. And some people, they just aren't trying to listen to anything else. You have to make them listen, and you have to be strong in your conviction. But you know, you do what you need to do to make sure that even if you lose a case, you put everything on a record to go in for an appeal, because there's always another a way around.
I know I've heard people say Attorney Crump, like, he loses every case, and people get concerned when he takes on a new case like the Ahmaud Arbery case. And then I'm thinking, like what you're saying, I'm thinking, but think about what he's up against when he's going in there. I mean, there's no way George Zimmerman should not have serve time for Trayvon Martin's,
Exactly.
you know. So the man, when he walks into a courtroom, yeah, he's already stacked. He's boxing a mountain when he goes in there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's taken on a lot of tough cases with some tough issues, and systemic racist legal system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but if we didn't have attorneys like him, then nothing would ever get done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to lose in order to win,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I've seen that as well. I've seen that with a lot of my colleagues where it's just stacked against them. But you have to do it. I mean, we're not magicians, obviously. We can't undo things. We can't change the past or anything like that. What we do is that we take the facts that we have and we make them work to our advantage. Some people are extremely successful at that, and some not so much. But there are so many factors, and I tell my clients this all the time. I can do what I need to do, and I can fight zealously for you. But just because I'm doing my job, there are so many outside factors that I can't control as much as I would want to. I can't control them. And so even if what I'm saying is legally sound, then we're still working with some biased people in the system. And when it comes down to it, a judge is supposed to be impartial. We know that, but we also know that they're human. You know that they have their own beliefs. They have their own convictions. They have their own views, and so you have to kind of work over that, overcome that obstacle. Even people in the jury, you know, you have your jury at 12. They're still people. It doesn't matter how often you tell them that they should look at this with an impartial eye. They're still people, right? They still have things that happen in their background that affected them, that can affect their decision today. And so we have to overcome that obstacle as well. But, you know, it's work that has to be done. It just is. We can't keep saying that, well, you know, what can I do? What can little old me do? We can't have that perspective. We can't have that thought. We have to go out there, even if we lose, we go down fighting. And that's what we do. That's what I do every day in a court. When I have a case that I know is probably not going to be successful, that does not stop me from fighting as hard as I can on that case. That's what I do for all my clients. Civil rights, whether it's family, whether it is criminal defense, you have to do that.
Well, you are better than me, because I think I would lose it in a courtroom. I really do. Going up against what you have to face. Do you find at all that it's getting better, or do you find it's getting worse, or do you find they're getting smarter in how they do it?
No, it's not getting better. It's still a fight that we have to take on. I don't know that they're getting smarter. I mean, it's clearly there, but unfortunately, you know, there's a hierarchy in the courtroom, right? And you kind of have to get in on that hierarchy where you fit in. And if you don't have the ear of certain individuals there, you may not be as successful as someone else who does have that ear. And it's unfortunate because when I got into law, it was all about, I'm going to fight for my people. I'm going to be there and I'm going to advocate for them. And I'm going to show them that the system is fair. Well, that just showed how naive I was. It's always a struggle. There have been times that I felt completely discouraged on a particular matter. Completely discouraged. There's even been times where I may shed a tear or so because I want to be, not only do I want to be successful for me, but I know what I'm doing and what I'm arguing for is right. And despite the fact that I'm on the right side,
Mm-hmm.
someone would try to show me that I'm wrong, and they'll rule in the wrong way. And so that's the reason we have this mass incarceration going on right now. We have this recidivism. It's because the system is designed for people to fail. And so you have to fight, and you have to fight against the ties in a system like that. And it gets tiring. It gets really tiring, but it's completely necessary. It's something that you have to do. And there are some times where you're going through your career and you have you've won one little battle, and then you realize, like, this is why I'm doing this. This is what it's about. I take it battle by battle by battle by battle. I can't think of the entire picture because that can become overwhelming. But if you look at the parts in small and just take them step by step by step, then you can you may have a more successful outcome, or at least provide some sort of justice for your client.
Do you feel a shift? I was just explaining to the young woman, Nia Williams, who led the protest this past weekend. It's like 5,000 people in attendance. She was one of the organizers for it. I spoke to her about this, and I just spoke to City Manager Erica Storley about this, and that it's just very interesting that this George Floyd story has awakened so many people all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We've been seeing these lynchings on video for years now, and there's been no justice. And, we're trying to figure out why all of a sudden now. I mean, thank God the switch has gone off for a lot of people. Thank the Lord that people are starting to see what we've been talking about for so long. Do you think that might possibly change some things in the courtroom, or you like, girl, that's probably one of the last places it's going to change?
So there has been bills introduced, not only on the state level but the federal level within the past few days, that now they are trying to make police a little bit more accountable for their actions. Such as chokeholds should not happen, right? So I can see that change there. And if we have certain legislation in place, then I can see how there would be a shift in the courtroom, because I don't care how biased or how judgmental you are, how partial you are as a judge, you just have to kind of follow the law that's in black and white. If we take away the interpretation from particular judges, and like, look, it said if this happens, if A happens, and B is a result of it, then C should happen. And it's just as plain as that, So I have seen some new legislation introduced in order to kind of make that shift. I think the reason George Floyd has been caused such a mass movement is because we see him laying there on the ground as life is leaving him. We see why the police pulled him over originally, and not only just him, but like the ones before him. A lot of people aren't talking about Breonna Taylor, but even someone like her, and just the difference between Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. This shows you why video recording is so important, because had it not been for, we seen George Floyd, right? So we're already in an uprise. But then we don't see a video of Breonna Taylor, and so then people are like, wait, is that real? Did that really happen? Until it really comes to the forefront, right? And so we didn't get into an uprise for Breonna Taylor because we didn't see that video. We didn't know what happened. And there's so many Black killings out there that are untelevised. that goes unheard, that gets swept under the rug. And that's the reason that the police continue to act the way that they do. We have to make them accountable for their actions. They are there to protect and serve us. We pay their salaries. They are supposed to make sure that our communities are safe. They cannot be the villains in our community. And right now they are. That's not to say all police are bad. Believe me, my little sister is a Chicago police officer. And I pray for her every day. But we know that there are those out there that believe that I have a badge and gun, therefore I have power over you. And you're not supposed to think I have power over you. You're supposed to say I have power for you. I have power to protect you. That's what my badge and my gun says. Not that now you are inferior to me. You are one of my minions. We can't have officers out there thinking like that, which is why there has to be that accountability. They have to feel some sort of pain when they go beyond the scope of their duties in apprehending a person at all. You have to think. They say that they're afraid of us, but yet you're the ones that are trained for situations like this. We're civilians. We're not trained in high intensity situations, but you are. And you hide behind your gun and you let your gun speak for you instead of trying to have a conversation with us with your voice. That has to stop. It has to stop. And we have to be the ones to make it stop and make them realize where their place is in society. They are not above us. They are there. They are below us to support us, and that has to be said. It has to be shouted, and they have to know that.
How will they be able to filter out the white supremacists who are in blue uniform? How will they be able to start doing that? I think that's something that they have to do. I just don't know how you would be able to tell, because they've infiltrated and you can't tell. I mean, they'll act like they're your best friend and meanwhile have a plan, And then one other question before I let you go too. When we see an officer, Derek Chauvin, doing what he's doing, like say you're walking down the street and you come up on this situation and this person is can't breathe, they're dying right there in front of you. What can a citizen do in that moment legally? So I know that's two questions at you, but
let's see your first question, right? I think that the process in becoming an officer should be a little bit longer. For me as an attorney, I have to go through 7 years of education, right? I have to do my 4 years of undergrad. I have to do 3 years of law school. When I get my license, I don't get a badge or a gun to say now I'm an attorney. My gun is my pencil, right? My gun is my voice. That's all I have. A police officer can get through the police academy and become a police officer within months. But yet you are the ones that have this weapon. You're the ones that have this badge. You're the ones that are taking people off the street, putting them behind bars. So don't you think that there should be a little longer education requirement for them? There needs to be. When I became an attorney, they did a thorough background on me. I mean, I had to list what I was doing for the past 10 years of my life. Why are we having more background checks on police officers? Why aren't we checking social media? Why aren't we, doing more psychological tests on them? Those are some things that need to be implemented in order for you to really get an idea of who this person is that you are giving a weapon to. We have to, we have to do more before just saying, okay, well, you know, you got through police academy, okay, and here's your deadly weapon, and here's your badge that you can use as a shield to protect yourself after you kill someone. So I think that the process of becoming a police officer needs to be a little bit longer. I think that more psychological tests needs to be done, a more intense background test. I mean, if we're doing it in civilian jobs, why aren't we doing it with the police academy?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so then to your second question, I've seen on social media a lot of people coming down hard on the young lady who filmed George Floyd, and people are saying, well, why didn't you get involved? Why didn't you do something more instead of standing there recording? Well, you have to think, what more could she have done? If she had not recorded, we would not have seen what happened.
Right.
Right? And so at least now it's brought that to the forefront. But let's say that there were some vigilantes out there. Let me not even call them vigilantes. Let's say that there were some people out there that were going to support George Floyd. They see that he's hurting, and they decided to approach the officer. Guess what we have now? Now we have several Black people killed. Because as soon as you run up to an officer, they're pulling their weapon out and they're shooting. That's what they're not going to look at the fact that you're trying to prevent death, which is being caused by the police officers. They're not looking at that. They're looking at, you're attacking me. I feared for my life. So I'm going to shoot, and then I'll ask questions later. And by that time, it's too late. So recording, I think, is one of the best weapons we have at this point, so that we can bring this to the forefront to legislation to make sure that new laws are enacted in order to prevent things like this. I wouldn't suggest someone run up on an officer. That's putting yourself in peril. So I definitely wouldn't suggest that. And you call another officer, what's going to happen? You call to the police station, what's going to happen? You can try it just to report, like, this is what's happening right now. I'm literally looking at this officer stand on this man's neck, and this man is dying in front of me. And hopefully, but by the time that gets to the dispatcher, and then the dispatcher to the police station, you know, you have the Blue Brothers in Arms, you know? So you think, like, what is that going to help? I'm pretty much calling their family to tell them. Recording at this point is our greatest weapon, so that we can show what's happening. We have evidence, we have receipts to show what's happening on these streets. Bring that to the people that can change it. Also bring it to our brothers and sisters, and we bring it to the people that can actually enact the difference.
Ooh, Lord. I feel like Black people need to walk around with a recorder on 24/7 in the workplace.
They do, as such as a body cam, because, you know, some officers, they'll turn off their body cam, which is against the rules in many jurisdictions, but they'll do that. So if you don't have the body cam, or they'll edit the footage of the body cam so that it plays to their story, you know. So yeah, we should be ready to record at any given minute. I've seen also some cameras where you can put it in your rearview mirror, and as soon as you are being pulled over by an officer, you can see them coming up, and then you can hit a button and it can start recording any sort of traffic stop. You know, we need to invest in things like this to make sure that we hold police officers accountable. We can let them know, I'm recording you right now. I'm recording this transaction. I have a right to record this transaction. And just know that it will go out to whatever platform should something negative happen. Put them on notice. Would that scare them more? I don't know, but maybe it might make them think a little bit harder before they, go along with their actions.
Right, right. I remember my stepdad had told me once, he was like, you need to have a recorder with you at work at all times because you run up on those Central Park Karens in the workplace,
Yeah,
written up, get you terminated. He was like, you just
yeah,
keep a recorder on at all times because it's always your word against theirs.
it
And
is.
usually, guess what happens? You're not.
It is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, their words hold more power.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. This is a scary time, right? It's like we're living in a history book. It's something that you read about that happened at one point in history, but it's not happening to me because we're in 2020. We've learned so much. We're so far beyond that, and unfortunately, we aren't. We just aren't. I'm afraid for my son. I have a 15-year-old black son. He's gonna, as much as I wanna reel in the reins and hold him, rein in the ropes and hold him as tight as I want to, I can't do that. He's gonna be out there on his own soon. And he's a really good kid. But do you think officers ask for backgrounds on people before they shoot them or kill them in the streets? They don't ask, well, what's your family like? What type of job do you have? Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any other talents? What is your future like? They don't ask those questions. They see your skin color and they react based on just your skin color. And I'm terrified for my kid to go out here in something like that. He's working on getting his license now. Terrified for him to be in a car. And so I have to constantly teach him that. It's a shame that in this day and age that Black parents, or parents of Black kids, we have to teach them about racism and how it's going to affect them before we have the sex talk. We're teaching our kids this at an extremely young age to say that you may be treated unfairly in your lifetime just because of the way you look. Nothing you have any control over. You didn't choose to look this way, but this is the way that you look. And based on that, people will hold you in a negative light. They don't know how great you are. You could be a prodigy at some sort of musical instrument. You can be on television. You can be a whip smart rocket scientist at the age of 14. They don't care. They will cut you down in your prime. It is unfair for us that this is what we have to teach our kids.
Thank you so much, Juneitha. Gosh, you and I had spoke before we went on, and I was talking about the depression that I'm feeling. But I mean, it's just a reality. It's just real.
Yeah.
It's just real. It's just real.
Yeah.
So thank you for.
So just to let you know again, my law office, if you don't mind, my law office is Shambee Law Office. I'm on Main and Custer in Evanston. My number is 773-741-3602. Or you can reach me on my website, which is shambeelaw.com. Again, I am offering my services pro bono to people who are arrested while peacefully protesting. I'm also taking on any civil rights cases for someone who has been on the tail end of police brutality or excessive force or anything like that. So again, give me a call at 773-741-3602 or shambeelaw.com, and I am willing to fight. I'm willing to fight for our rights. That's what I'm here for.
Well, we thank you so much, Juneitha, for your work and going in there and boxing that mountain and taking it step by step to fight, to win, no matter what the outcome is. You just keep going, and we thank you for your work and your service. Thank you.
It's what I was meant to do.
Yes, I see. It takes a certain spirit to go up against that mountain like that.
Yeah.
That's some serious hating mountain.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we got to have you back because, yeah, we need some more of that insight, that perspective. Thank
I'll be
you.
here anytime.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, you all, this is Malika, Evanston Live TV, and that was attorney Juneitha Shambee. I'll be sure to put her information in the description for those of you in need of a civil rights attorney, and she's also offering free pro bono to those who have been out there protesting and been arrested, or God only knows what experience you've gone through and you know that it was injustice. She will be there for you. So I will list her information there. Thank you all so much. We are going to have more awesome people coming on to Evanston Live TV to provide a voice, a service, let you know what's going on. Please stay aware. Be conscious always of what's going on around you. We're in some very interesting times. For many of us, we've been in these times, but with COVID-19 on top of everything, there's definitely a shift going on. So please, you know, just be aware of your surroundings and what's going on. Stay engaged so you know what's happening out there. Okay, you all be safe. And this is Malika, Evanston Live TV. Stay tuned for more.